Today is one of the most rewarding days for the gardening season for me, and that's planting out our crops. Looks like we're in for a good day. The sun is shining, and we're starting off with the brassicas. And I do this in a sequence. So the first thing I do is get all the plants out and group them in their type, like cabbages, collies, sprouts, calabrese, and stuff like that. So first of all, I'll go and empty the greenhouse. So this is the collection of brassicas. As you can see, there's way more than I actually need, but I'd rather get the plants like this, pick the best ones out, and then donate any surplus. In the past I've had it when I've been scratching around to fill the spaces, and you put substandard plants in, you're onto a loser straight away. Anyway, I have to get my crib sheet now to find what each of these numbers mean. Just have a look at my planting crib sheet. For anybody outside the UK, a crib sheet is something, a chart or something with reference on what you refer to. Sometimes it can be used illegally, such as exams and that with formula and on, but in this case this is my planting list. So just going over to where the brassicas are mainly, and I've added the numbers on the right hand side. I don't know if you can spot them where, and this there makes it quite easy to decide the stock you've got and how many rows you're going to plant out. I noticed there's one or two cabbage whites whizzing about, so as a temporary measure, just to safeguard the plants while I'm planting out, I've just popped the old strawberry cage over the top, and that'll keep the butterflies off, hopefully, until we can get the big net on. The first row of plants I put in with the brassicas is always the Brussels sprouts, right along the back across the 3 beds, and that's because they're the tallest, and that's south facing, and it doesn't cast any shadow on the rest of the crops. I know the ones behind actually cop it, but that's the price you pay. By the time the sprouts are up here, there'll be onions in here and they'll be quite well established. And normally I use a standard bulb planter, but because I'm using these deep root cell trays, and most of them are in the container wise ones, I've got one of these very, very narrow but also long bulb planters, and that seems to do the job. So what I'll do, I'll carry on. Rather than bore you with this, I'll probably end up planting all the brassicas out and bring you back for a recap of what we actually put out. As usual with all my brassica plantings, I'll give the whole a dusting with lime and also the root ball. Remove the lower cotyledon seed leaves, because these can be planted much deeper than they are in the tray, and so give them a good firming. A bit later on I'll be adding stakes in here to tie them in, because I don't know windrock. Like my other videos, if you want to have a look in detail, I have got a brassica video on the Grow Made Easy series, and I'll put a little link at the side here. Just a quick update, folks, to let you know what's happening. Seems an age since I've done any filming. It probably is. I had a good chunk of time took out visiting Malvern Show. Nonetheless, this is the state of the brassica bed at the moment. As you can see, almost planted out, but there's still a few more gaps that I can pop some more plants in. I'll just show you what's happening around this corner here. Underneath the hoops, we've still got some brassicas, which may make it or not, I don't know. In the coal frame here, I've taken the lid off now. I'm going to put the mesh top on, took the glass lights off, and these are the next 2 sowings of peas. The ones that are sowed quite thickly in the peat-based compost, as you can see, the germination on them is fantastic compared to maybe those. Out on here, I'm going to be taking the cover off those and putting the frame up very soon, and probably get the other one out as well. Today we got a bit of rain. We've had a lot of rain overnight. I've got some pots with trays underneath, and there's quite a lot of water in the trays. The gardener will welcome it. Whether it stops me doing any more work out here, I'm not sure, but job for today into the greenhouse and potting on the peppers. I've just taken the cloche off this first sowing of peas, and they did intermingle a bit, the two rows, but I've parted the waves. As you can see, there's still quite a few gaps, but it's amazing how much that extra warmth has brought them on. So what I'm going to do now is actually fit the climbing frame. I've got the frame into place now. It's just a matter of connecting up to these upright posts with the zip ties. Just pull that one in a little bit. Might have noticed I've got the long trousers back on again. We had such great weather at Malvern Show. It is actually blazing hot, and say the overnight rain has cooled the temperatures down quite a lot, but not to worry. I'll probably get the other peas out within the next day or two. In the meantime, I'm going to let these get on the way. The good thing about doing this system here is once I've got the 3 frames into place, quite often I have problems with sparrows. What they do, they nip the tips out of the peas. So all I do then is put a couple of line pins in each end, a couple of poles across, and throw a net over, and within a minute or so you've got great protection. In the past, I've actually tied the peas up to the framework, but I found this works just as successful just by mounting the soil up and leaning them towards the frame. They soon hook on. In the end, I decided to get the other peas out because I'm going to be very, very busy in the next week or so trying to get the onions and whatever out. Another job almost complete. There's only the 3rd row to go in. That'll probably be a week or two's time. So this outside row looks a bit shameful, but at least we got something in there. Everything in gardening doesn't always go to plan. Just potting on the peppers now. As you can see, I've had an infestation of whitefly on them. They've actually given them a right battering. So I've put them out here, watered them in, and I'm giving them an hour spray with the SB plant invigorator, hoping that'll shift it. It's worth mentioning it's less than a week since I planted these brassicas, and just look at the weeds that have come out in between. That's one of the benefits of planting in rows. I can easily run the hoe down there and tidy them up. Now's the time to get rid of them, otherwise you're going to be left with a jungle, and nobody wants to see plants growing in there. While I was at the recent Malvern Spring Show, I came across these clips for securing canes at 90 degrees to each other. Now, I'd seen them before on the YouTube, but never actually bought any. And these was quite cheap. There was 10 clips for £3. I think I got 20. 2 different sizes, and these will go up to a 16mm diameter. Put that on there, and that there is rock solid, and it gets rid of having to use zip ties all the time. I've just finished weeding my final set of beds. What I'll do next is run the soil miller, the wolf soil miller, across the top of all these just to fluff it up a bit. And then I'm almost ready for planting. In the top bed there is going to be the tomatoes and probably a beetroot in between. In the middle beds could be salad crops. And in this bed, not sure yet, but definitely there'll be some French beans and other things. Right, I've milled the first bed. As I said, this is going to be used for the tomatoes. One final thing before I get ready for planting out. A couple of plot holders who have a wood burner kindly donated a good dollop of wood ash. So I'm going to give this a good top dressing. That'll add plenty of potash into the soil, which the tomatoes will love. Try and do it on a windy day. The recent warm weather we've had, and quite a lot of rain as well. Thought I'd better get the tops off these potatoes. I'm poking the heads up quite quickly now. First 4 rows here are Charlotte. The next one's a blight resistant irregular one called Sao Palmyra, and the one at the front, new variety for me, it's a Sao Palmyra cross, and it's called Java. I think I'm going to take a flyer and plant out the tomatoes now. This bed here is going to be completely full of blight resistant, 12 in total plants, and I think there's 8 different varieties. And what I want to do is to compare them against my regular favourite, Crimson Crush. There'll be 4 Crimson Crush down here and a lot of different other varieties here. I'll plant them out and I'll let you know what the varieties are when we're done. Just take the out the pot. Don't know if you can see that. It's a decent root ball on there. I've dug the hole a little bit deeper than normal, remove the bottom leaves, and I always give a light dusting and mycorrhizal around the hole. Pop it in. I will put some bigger support canes on here once I've planted the row out. Well, this might be a bit of a jump cut from the last one. You probably saw me started planting the tomatoes out. Well, we had rain and it never ever stopped. I tried to bear it out, but I got absolutely soaked. In the end, I give up. So today, this morning, I've come out and just cracked on with this and not done any filming really. So this is just a bit of a catch-up. This bed here is the tomato bed, and all these, I've said before, are blight resistant. I'll just run you through what we got. The 4 on the outside edge there are all the Crimson Crush. That's my usual regular one. The middle one here is a Cocktail Crush. That one there is Fandango. This one here is a Crimson Cherry, and that one there is a Crimson Plum. And bringing on to this side here, we've got 2 of these. Both of these are called Rose Crush. This one here is called Crocchini, and this one here is called Nagina. Now, in the middle of the rows, as usual, I'll be planting me beetroot. That's ready to go out now. I almost done it today, but I'd had enough. Anyway, I've not just been sitting down in there. We've also been into the greenhouse, and I'll just show you in there and have a catch up. I'm not sure how much of the Brassica bed I've actually filmed. It's probably about 80% of the way filled now. Still a bit of gap down the bottom, but I've also added some swede, some turnip, and even some lettuce. What I will do, I'll get a full run through and the plantings when it's full. In the meantime, on the way to the greenhouse, I'll just show you some stuff that's actually hardening off. I've got a few odds and sods here, 1 or 2 brassicas, there's some seedlings, flowers, the odd tomato, and more beetroot coming up. Along the front, I've got the leeks, the pot leeks. Them will be ready to go out soon. And you can see these giants here. These are the runner beans. I could actually put those out. These will be out in days rather than weeks. A few French beans at the front. Also got some cannas here. I'm going to have to pot these on because they're deforming the pots. Anyway, also under here, I've got my onions. They'll probably be going out on the next video with a few more beetroot. So let's just pop inside the greenhouse. And this is where I've been wasting all my time. I've actually given this a good clear out. The pots have been washed, and I'll just talk you through what we've got planned for this. So you join me in the greenhouse. Right, along the outside, both sides here, I've got the auto pots. There's 4 in each, and they'll be using to grow the tomatoes. Hopefully I'll get a variety, different one in each pot. I've got quite a lot of tomatoes in the garden still. I've grown them, I don't know how many varieties this year. Some I've never grown before. So as I said, there'll be a different variety in each pot. In fact, I think there'll be some left over, so I might even get another half a bed out on the allotment. Got plenty of cherry tomatoes and also the plum as well, so we'll see what happens there. Looking on here, normally along the back here, I have the quad grows, which grows the cucumbers. Still going to do them in there, but this time instead of having the 4 in the bank, I've split them, so I've got 2 that side and 2 that side, and so they're still going to grow the cucumbers. But in the middle here, I've managed to slot in. It slots in just nicely. Nice root, make a job of the space available. There's 8 stations. It's another self-wicking system I've built, similar to the ones you've seen before. I'm still going to be growing the peppers and that in the greenhouse in the garden, but in here I'm going to be having an aubergines, melons, and I might even throw a few spare peppers. Any what don't make the cut in the greenhouse, they'll be coming in here. Along the borders, I don't think I'm going to plant anything in yet. I may throw the odd lettuce in, or a bit of beetroot or something like that. I'll see what comes, but no plans for anything special. The only other job in here is to get this grapevine done, because it really needs pruning now. There's plenty of bunches coming on, so it needs thinning them out. So that's about it for this one. Many thanks for watching, and join me on the allotment on the next one, where we'll definitely be planting out the onions, possibly some beans, and who knows what else. See you later. Bye for now.